welcome to Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha with News Tonight. In the next 30 minutes, I'll be taking you through the day's biggest news stories from across India and the world. Our top story tonight, in a major move aimed at benefiting crores of job seekers, the Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved setting up a national recruitment agency. The meeting, headed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, took several key decisions to benefit farmers, the power sector and others. More details in this report. In a landmark reform in the recruitment process for central government jobs, the Union Cabinet has approved a National Recruitment Agency or NRA to save time and costs. The NRA will conduct a common eligibility test to screen and shortlist candidates for the Group B and Group C non-technical posts. It will have representatives from the Ministry of Railways, Ministry of Finance, Department of Financial Services, the SSC, RRB and IBPS. The NRA chairman will hold the rank of a secretary to the government. 1,517.57 crore rupees have been sanctioned to set up the agency headquartered in Delhi. Examination infrastructure will be set up in 117 aspirational districts.
नौकरी के लिए जो युवा होते हैं उनको बहुत परीक्षाएं देनी पड़ती है और उनको लगभग 20 रिक्रूटमेंट एजेंसीज है, तो कोई 4-5 में अगर परीक्षाएं देता है तो उतनी परीक्षा उतनी जगह जाना, ये सब समाप्त करने के लिए एक ऐतिहासिक फैसले में नेशनल रिक्रूटमेंट एजेंसी, राष्ट्रीय भर्ती संस्था, ये परीक्षा लेने वाली कॉमन एलिजिबिलिटी टेस्ट ये लेगी और इसका करोड़ों छात्रों को लाभ मिलेगा, छात्रों को यानी युवाओं को लाभ मिलेगा.
This is a revolutionary reform and I think one of the most landmark reforms in the history of independent India. This is a reform which will bring in ease of recruitment, ease of selection, ease of job placement and thereby ease of living, particularly for certain sections of society which are at a disadvantage on one account or the other.
The Union Cabinet also cleared the proposal to lease out Jaipur, Guwahati and Thiruvananthapuram airports through public-private partnership.
जो अपफ्रंट 1070 करोड़ लगभग मिलेंगे, ये एयरपोर्ट अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया दूसरे छोटे शहरों में एयरपोर्ट का विकास करने में काम उपयोग में लाएगी. ये पैसा बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है और दूसरा फायदा ये होगा कि यात्रियों को अच्छी सुविधा मिलेगी. यात्रियों के अच्छा सुविधा के साथ साथ एक नई कार्यक्षमता, नई ऊर्जा आएगी.
Further, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved the fair and remunerative price of sugarcane payable by sugar mills for 2020-21 at 285 rupees per quintal for a basic recovery rate of 10%. To provide liquidity to the stressed power sector, the Cabinet has given one-time relaxation to Power Finance Corporation and Rural Electrification Corporation for loans to DISCOMs. Under this, loans can be extended to DISCOMs above the working capital cap of 25% of last year's revenues under the Ujjwal DISCOM Assurance Yojana. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. A look now at the COVID-19 update in the country. More than 64,000 new cases were detected in India on Tuesday, taking the number of confirmed infections to 27.67 lakh. More than 20 lakh, or about 73.6%, have already recovered from the disease. With a record 60,091 people recuperating from the coronavirus infection in a single day, the total recoveries in India on Wednesday crossed 2 million or 20 lakh, pushing the recovery rate to 73.64%. Less than one-fourth, that is only 24.45% of the total cases are now active. 64,531 new cases of coronavirus were reported in the last 24 hours with 1,092 deaths. Total cases have increased to over 27 lakh, including 52,889 deaths. Fertility rate has dropped to 1.91%. Over 3 crore 17 lakh samples have been tested so far, including 8 lakh samples tested on Tuesday. As tests per million continue to rise, the growth rate of active cases has fallen to 0.2%. While daily active cases are growing at 4,500 on an average, daily deaths on an average at 950 is a worrying trend. India's test positivity rate has also declined from early August. However, at 8.72%, it still remains higher than WHO-approved 5%. 5 states with the biggest 24-hour jump in total cases are Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh. 5 most affected states by total tally of cases are Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh on Tuesday recorded its worst daily fatality count with 77 people succumbing to the virus. 2,585 people have died from the infection in the state so far. West Bengal recorded the highest single-day spike of 3,175 new COVID-19 cases, taking its tally to over 1,22,000. Haryana recorded the highest single-day jump of 896 novel coronavirus cases, taking the tally close to 49,000, while the death toll rose to 557 with 7 more deaths. Punjab recorded its steepest daily spike of 1,704 cases. The total number of cases have crossed 34,400 in the state. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. The World Health Organization has warned that young people are not invincible to the coronavirus and must follow all necessary precautions.
The caution comes on a day when COVID-19 infections crossed 22.3 million cases worldwide.
And we are seeing people, even young people, who are ending up with severe disease. We are seeing young people who are ending up in ICU, and we are seeing young people who are dying from this virus.
Meanwhile, coronavirus infections continued to spread across the world. The United States tops the list with over 5.65 million cases and 1,75,000 deaths. It is followed by Brazil with over 3.4 million cases and nearly 1.1 lakh deaths. The UK has reported over 1,000 daily COVID-19 cases since last week. The British government has now integrated some of its key public health agencies into one new organization, the National Institute for Health Protection, to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. On Tuesday, France reported 2,238 fresh cases to bring its tally to over 2.2 lakh. Infections are rising across 273 new clusters in France. France has mandated face coverings in enclosed workspaces starting September 1st. New COVID-19 cases in Germany rose by 1,390 on the day. Japan had 902 new cases, taking its tally to over 57,700. Over 1,130 people have died of the disease so far. New Zealand is deploying military forces to guard its quarantine facilities. 5 new cases on Wednesday brought its total to 1,299 cases and 22 deaths. South Korea reported its biggest spike of 297 cases on Wednesday. Most new infections were related to the Sarang Jail Church in Seoul. Meanwhile, China reported no new local COVID-19 cases on Wednesday but had 17 imported ones.
The WHO has also warned against vaccine nationalism, saying every country must have equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines.
We need to prevent vaccine nationalism. And for this reason, WHO is working with governments and the private sector to both accelerate the science through the ACT Accelerator and ensure that new innovations are available to everyone, everywhere, starting with those at highest risk.
Meanwhile, countries worldwide are racing to develop vaccines against the coronavirus disease. Russia has started production of its newly approved COVID-19 vaccine, Sputnik V. The vaccine is being manufactured at Moscow's Gamaleya Institute. Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador and Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro have volunteered to try the Russian vaccine. In other developments, China has approved its first COVID-19 vaccine patent. The vaccine is being jointly developed by the Academy of Military Medical Sciences and CanSino Biologics. The company will begin phase 3 trials soon, while phase 2 clinical trial of the vaccine was safe and induced an immune response. American firm Novavax has started phase 2 clinical trials of its potential COVID-19 vaccine in South Africa. In India, Serum Institute will start phase 3 human trials of the Oxford vaccine this week. 1,600 people will take part in the trials across 20 selected sites. Meanwhile, 2 other Indian vaccines are in the phase 1-2 of clinical trials and are progressing well.
In some other news, newly appointed Comptroller and Auditor General of India, Girish Chandra Murmu, called on Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Wednesday. Murmu, the former Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, was sworn in as the CAG on 8th of August. A former bureaucrat, Murmu is a 1985 batch IAS officer of Gujarat cadre. His tenure as the new CAG will be up to 20th November 2024. Murmu had met Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will announce the results of the 5th edition of the annual Cleanliness Survey Swachhta Results 2020 on Thursday.
The Prime Minister will launch the Swachhta Results 2020 results dashboard on Thursday. A total of 129 awards will be given to the top performing cities and states at the virtual Swachh Mahotsav that has been organized by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. He will also interact with select beneficiaries, Swachhagrahis and Safai Karmis under the Swachh Bharat Mission Urban Program from different parts of the country. The announcement of the 2020 results was delayed owing to the COVID-19 pandemic. The survey saw 1.7 crore citizens register on the Swachhta app, over 11 crore impressions on social media, more than 5.5 lakh sanitary workers linked to social welfare schemes, and over 84,000 informal waste pickers integrated into the mainstream. Swachh Sarvekshan was introduced by the government with the objective of generating large-scale citizen participation in the mission, along with inculcating a spirit of healthy competition among cities in the race to become India's cleanest cities. Mysuru had won the award for the cleanest city of India in the first edition of the survey, while Indore has retained the top position for the last 3 consecutive years. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Top commanders of the Indian Navy on Wednesday began an in-depth review of the evolving maritime security architecture in the region, as well as the border row with China in eastern Ladakh. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh attended the inaugural session of the 3-day Naval Commanders Conference. He applauded the Indian Navy for their role in protecting the maritime interests of the nation. He said he has full confidence in the Navy's preparedness to meet any challenge through a proactive response in deploying its ships and aircraft. The key focus of the conclave is to review the Indian Navy's operational readiness, as well as issues relating to India's security interests in the Indo-Pacific, a region where China has been rapidly expanding its military presence. The Indian Navy has deployed a range of its frontline warships and submarines in the Indian Ocean region, following escalation of the border dispute with China along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh. The 2-day 5th World Conference of Speakers of Parliament got underway in Geneva. The conference is jointly organized by the Inter-Parliamentary Union, the IPU, and the Parliament of Austria with the support of the United Nations.
Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, the conference is being held through virtual means. The theme this year is Parliamentary Leadership for More Effective Multilateralism that delivers peace and sustainable development for the people and planet. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla took part in the virtual conference along with MPs Rajiv Pratap Rudi and Meenakshi Lekhi and Lok Sabha Secretary General Snehlata Srivastav. Birla spoke during the panel discussion on improving governance by bridging the gap between parliaments and the people. Calling for multilateralism to combat the pandemic, Birla urged the world community to join hands in overcoming the crisis.
लगभग एक शताब्दी के बाद आज संपूर्ण मानव जाति फिर एक अस्तित्व के संकट से जूझ रही है। कोविड-19 महामारी ने विश्व के सभी देशों को अभूतपूर्व मानवीय एवं आर्थिक क्षति पहुंचाई है। कोई भी देश छोटा हो या बड़ा इससे अकेले लड़ने में सक्षम नहीं है। इस भीषण त्रासदी के समय में बहुपक्षवाद की समस्त विपदाओं के निराकरण का सर्वोत्तम माध्यम है, चाहे कोविड-19 का इलाज हो या अर्थव्यवस्था का पुनरुद्धार हो। सभी देशों को मिलकर काम करना पड़ेगा।
Agricultural exports in March to June this year increased by 23.24% compared to the corresponding period in 2019.
The increase was highest in wheat, Bengal gram, groundnut oil and tur. The Agriculture Ministry said even in the lockdown period, India took care not to disturb the world food supply chain and continued to export. In value terms, the exports of agri-commodities worth 25,552 crore rupees against a figure of 20,734 crore rupees in the same period in 2019. As a percentage of India's agricultural GDP, agricultural exports increased from 9.4% in 2017-18 to 9.9% in 2018-19. Agricultural imports declined from 5.7% to 4.9%, indicating exportable surplus and decreased dependence. The ministry also created product-specific export promotion fora to facilitate agri-exports. The Department of Agricultural Cooperation and Farmers' Welfare has prepared an action plan for the promotion of agri-trade with focus on the issues of pre-production, production and post-harvest. It also emphasized on the need to strengthen existing agri-clusters and developing more product clusters to bridge the gap of bulk, quantity and quality.
To deal with the COVID-19 crisis, the government announced various economic measures under the Atmanirbhar Bharat package for migrant workers. The most significant and timely step was the distribution of free food grains to migrants and stranded workers in different states and union territories. About 8 lakh metric tons of food grains were allocated to all states and union territories on 15th May 2020 to address the needs of migrant workers across the country. Reports available up to 17th August show that of the total 6.38 lakh metric tons food grains lifted by states, about 2.49 lakh metric tons, that is about 39% of food grains, were distributed among migrants. With the distribution process extended till 31st August 2020, more migrant people are expected to benefit from the scheme. But the low utilization also indicates that the number of migrant workers is actually much less. If they had returned to their home states, then they would be covered either under the National Food Security Act or the State Ration Card Scheme. Some states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Tripura, Manipur and the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir have also issued new ration cards after March 2020 to new beneficiaries. About 60,70,000 additional persons got ration cards. These people were not covered earlier as they were outside the state. Further, many states took subsidized food grains from the open market sale scheme and provided them to civil societies, NGOs, district administrations towards food kits or cooked meals to many more migrants. States also used State Disaster Response Fund resources to meet food requirements of the migrant workers. An ICMR report estimates that cancer cases in India will number around 13.9 lakh this year and could increase to 15.7 lakh by the year 2025. It also says that women are marginally more susceptible to the disease. Among men, cancer cases are estimated to touch 6,79,000 in 2020 and may reach 7,63,000 in 2025. Among women, cases are estimated to be 7,12,000 in 2020 and likely to reach 8 lakh in the year 2025. Breast cancer is expected to be the most common type of cancer in 2025, followed by cancers of lung and mouth. The report is based on information collected from 28 population-based cancer registries and 58 hospital-based cancer registries across India. The Supreme Court has ordered a CBI investigation into Bollywood actor Sushant Singh Rajput's death.
The apex court was hearing actor Riya Chakrabarty's petition seeking transfer of investigation in Rajput's death case from Patna to Mumbai. The apex court ruled that FIR filed in Bihar was lawful and the state government is competent to request a CBI probe. The Mumbai police have now been asked to hand over all evidence to the investigating agency. The hearing in the top court saw a slugfest between Bihar and Maharashtra governments over jurisdiction, with finger pointing at the efficacy of each other's police departments. Chakrabarty's counsel told the bench that probe by Mumbai police has proceeded quite substantially, as it has recorded statements of 56 persons in the case. However, senior advocate for Rajput's father said they have no faith in Maharashtra police. 34-year-old Sushant Singh Rajput died on 14th of June, leaving the Hindi film industry in turmoil over allegations of bullying and nepotism. The case being investigated in Mumbai took a deeply political turn when Sushant Singh Rajput's father filed a complaint in Bihar, his home state, accusing his girlfriend Riya Chakrabarty of mentally harassing him, driving him to suicide and taking money from his accounts.
And news now from the United States. Joe Biden was officially nominated as the Democratic nominee for American president on Tuesday night. He will challenge President Donald Trump in the November 2020 election.
Former Vice President Joe Biden tweeted his acceptance minutes after receiving enough votes to clinch the nomination, which he called an honor of his life. On the second day of the Democratic National Convention, Biden received the 2,374 delegate votes necessary for nomination. Past and present Democratic leaders and speakers supported Biden's candidature. They included former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State John Kerry and former Republican Secretary of State Colin Powell. The National Convention was restyled into a video tour across the US, substituting for the traditional roll call in a crowded convention hall due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Biden was nominated almost 6 months after he won the South Carolina primary that proved a turning point, leading to a string of victories after setbacks in Iowa and New Hampshire.
Mali's president announced his resignation on state television and dissolved the National Assembly shortly after he and the Prime Minister were arrested in mutiny.
The European Union described the incident as an attempted coup. Mali President Ibrahim Boubacar Keita and Prime Minister Bobou Kisse were detained on Tuesday evening, hours after soldiers mutinied at the Kati military base outside national capital Bamako and rounded up senior civilian officials and military officers. Anti-government demonstrators cheered the soldiers who drove through Independence Square in Bamako, that had seen a series of opposition protests calling for Keita's resignation over the last few months. Keita came to power in 2013 and won a second term as president in 2018. But there has been a rising anger against his regime for government incompetence, corruption, and a deteriorating economy amid a worsening security situation in the north and center of the West African country, where Islamist militants are active. It was not clear who was leading the revolt or what the mutineers wanted.
The Golden Temple in Amritsar has been decked up for the Prakash Utsav of the Guru Granth Sahib on Thursday. On the eve of the festival, people took out Nagar Kirtans from Ramsar Sahib to the Golden Temple. The occasion marks the first Prakash or the opening ceremony of the Guru Granth Sahib at the Golden Temple that was built in Amritsar in 1604. Around 25 to 30 quintals of flowers have been used to adorn the shrine, while over 80 artisans from Kolkata have decorated it. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, people have been advised against visiting the Darbar Sahib. Arrangements have been made to watch the live streaming of the celebrations. World Humanitarian Day was observed on Wednesday. Designated by the United Nations General Assembly in the year 2008, the day is meant to raise awareness about humanitarian assistance worldwide and also to remember those who risk their lives to provide it. This year's World Humanitarian Day comes as the world fights the COVID-19 pandemic. Paying tribute to the efforts of humanitarians worldwide, the World Health Organization has a global campaign that celebrates real-life heroes, including the health workers and the first responders working selflessly amid a time of unprecedented need. We leave you with these visuals. Picture this, and thank you very much for your time. Good night. Take good care of yourselves.